A lot of companies don't know how to hire designers. That's why I would say recommend the best way to hire a designer is very unconventional. Follow that designer on the internet, see his designs. Most times you just need to see one design from a designer to judge if this person is incredibly good or not. I'm saying if you are really good at hiring, and most times it should not just be your HR. If you are hiring for a design team that is at least mature, get your designer involved. Don't just get HR who will probably see something and will not be able to pick out the other. I'm like, it's fine, I like the colors. And God save the man, because definitely he was dealing with people who were dealing with portfolios that are not theirs. I saw Mudia's design on someone else's portfolio. Did you do this? And the person said yes. I said no, you didn't. No, you didn't. And I was like, yes, he did. I said, okay, can you show me the film of I said it's 10D. I said, if it's 10D, it's not meant to be here. I'm not even meant to see a preview. It's 10D. He said, they can show this, but they can't show it. I said, but what if I show you this design? And I shared my screen and I showed him that font for font, typeface for typeface, color for color. Who is lying?
Thank you to our sponsor, Simplified UX, for sponsoring this episode. Are you a designer looking to improve your design skills? Or do you already have commendable design skills, but you somehow don't know your stance in design theories? Or have you ever wished for a questionnaire that could help you test your design knowledge? That's where Simplified UX comes in. Simplified UX is your best bet at testing your design knowledge. Simplified UX is a platform that aims at helping designers to be more knowledgeable in what they do, as well as improving their design skills. If you've ever wished for a questionnaire that could help you test your design knowledge, simply log on to simplifiedux.com to join a pool of design talent who are actually polishing their design skills and knowledge. Interestingly, there are actually recruiters on Simplified UX who can actually notice your skill and help you learn good design rules. Simply log into app.simplifiedux.com and use my discount code DSP25 to get a 25% discount when you subscribe. Link in the description below. The Untitled Designers Conference is coming up this year from the 23rd of August to the 24th of August, and you don't want to miss it. The Untitled Designers Conference is one that gives designers and creatives in general an opportunity and a forum to come together to learn, share, and network with each other. So, if you're an illustrator, UI designer, brand designer, web developer, whatever creative field you're in, you don't want to miss this year's conference. That's why the Designstration podcast has partnered with UDC to give out 50% discount when any one of our esteemed listeners use our promo code to purchase tickets from their website. So just log down to their website in the link in the description below, and when you want to buy your ticket, the section for promo code, fill in the code UDCXDSP and you get 50% discount when buying your tickets. That's not all. The Designstration podcast will bring in freebies for all our esteemed, dearest listeners. And we're going to be handing you freebies on the conference day. So you don't want to miss it. So log on to UDC's website to buy your ticket. The link is in the description below.
Designstration.
Leye, you're welcome back to the session.
Thank you very much for
being here.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear.
Today we're talking about design hiring in Africa as a whole, the process. And let's launch out by saying, in general, how do you feel about the process of hiring designers in general?
The process of hiring designers seems a bit convoluted. It's not as straightforward as hiring a banker. Or, for those ones, there's a great deal of credentialism involved. We must have at least BSc, bonus mark if you did accounting, for accounting, or a chartered accountant. For designers, even if you read a Greek, as long as it's skill-based, as long as you can deliver and drive value, that's the underlying metric that matters to any business willing to hire you. Every other thing is secondary. So every other thing is secondary. That's why it's a bit convoluted. So people sort of decide what they want. But some companies just tailor their requirement based on their needs, not like there's a standardized approach to it. Different companies, different rules.
And from an observer's point of view, as an observer, right? and this is not necessarily criticism as an observer, would you agree that Africa's hiring process for designers is flawed or otherwise?
A lot of things in this place is flawed, primarily because it's still at its nascent stage. It's still just developing. If you were abroad, outside Africa, let me say Nigeria, outside Africa, and you were at the early stage of design hiring, you probably would say the same thing. So we are in that period in our journey. So by the time we are done, we definitely will do a lot of things better than we're doing it now. So I won't necessarily use the word flawed. I'll consider it a growing, nascent industry, and so there may be a lot of areas for improvement.
And for a designer looking to be hired, who is wanting to launch into the market space, are there key things that they should know? Obviously there are. So what would be those key things that designers need to know before they launch into the market space?
I think one thing they should know is it is not the number of projects on your portfolio that matters. If you do 20 and the 20 still doesn't look good enough, and most times they won't even have time to go through the 20 because you are going to be checking your portfolio and miss a lot of portfolios. So it's not the number of, it's the quality of the design, the quality of the thought process put into the design that really counts, even if it's just 2 projects you did. If you're able to articulate well and show me picture perfect design, why not? That's what matters, not 20. And don't use templates. A lot of people use templates. You will notice.
When you say template, what do you mean?
If you are reviewing designers you're about to hire, by the time you review 10, maybe 4 out of 10, use the same structure in presentation. The same structure, sometimes the same introductory sentence. You know that you people are running on the same templates, and the only section that is different is their portfolio section. The way they will say the thank you is almost the same thing too. So yeah, generally they should avoid using templates, and it's not the number of projects on your portfolios that counts, but the quality of work on the portfolio.
And would you say it is actually very typical for companies to devalue or undervalue the hiring process of designers?
A lot of companies don't know how to hire designers. That's why I would say recommend the best way to hire a designer is very unconventional. Follow that designer on the internet. See his designs regularly. If that person posts, I know it's very unconventional.
Yeah.
If that person posts designs consistently and they are good by your own definition, by your own standard, hire the person. One mistake people keep making is judging a designer by just one portfolio. I'm saying this because I found myself having to complain. Only I don't put the complaint on the internet. Someone sends you a portfolio review and you're seeing nice designs, only for you to put the person inside a Figma file, and the designs, you can't match what you're seeing in Figma with what you have seen in the portfolio. So sometimes a lot of companies can be easily deceived, not on their fault, and sometimes it's their fault. Sometimes they want the designer to actually do designs that you are not paying for before you hire them. So you see that it's sort of dicey. Asking a designer to do a design to test them that whether they are good enough, I might not be entirely glad with that process. I might not entirely buy the process. From the portfolio, know if you want them or not, and trust that they will be able to deliver. But at the same time, I've been seeing a lot of cases of fraud where the designs and the portfolios are eye-catchy, captivating, compelling, but the actual designs don't match up. And I'm like, how? How did you even get in the first place? So it's a double-sided problem rather. But so I won't just entirely blame the hirers. Only that sometimes, yes, they are just looking for slaves in the guys. You want someone to do motion, do graphics, do UI UX. Of course, I don't encourage people to be generalists. At the same time, know when to draw the line that no. It's too much. You are trying to kill many birds with no stone. It's a lot of crazy. It's a crazy work. So don't get yourself into a place where you're always complaining mental health, burnout, and creative block.
I mean, you mentioned something about companies wanting designers to do quote unquote free works, right? But that comes under that masquerades as
hiring tests.
Hiring tests.
Yes, right? I've had it a lot.
So, I mean,
okay,
where do we draw the line?
It's quite simple. If I want to join your company and say, oh, design a very simple landing page. Look at our current website. What will you design better? I probably will do it. That should not be a bother for me. But if you now tell me to look at your website end to end, I'm going to redesign it. And then after that, you sit and you evaluate. I will ask, why is one screen not enough for you to make your decision? Why does it have to be multiple screens? Or if I'm coming as an illustrator, you just tell me, oh, design one poster for us, let's post. And I'll go and design it, and you look at it and say, that makes sense. You can make your decision off it. Most times, you just need to see one design from a designer to judge if this person is incredibly good or not. I'm saying if you are really good at hiring, and most times it should not just be your HR. If you are hiring for a design team that is at least mature, get your designer involved. Don't just get HR who will probably see something and will not be able to pick out the other. I'm like, it's fine. I like the colors. So get your designers involved. Or if you know you are not really keen on design or good at design, but you really want to get the best value for money and you want to get the best person, seek out people who are incredibly good at design. I've been opportunity to help some people with your hiring process. Let them help you evaluate designers. And God save the man, because definitely he was dealing with people who were dealing with portfolios that are not theirs. I saw Mudia's design on someone else's portfolio.
Whoa.
And I remember one time his portfolio was on Figma, not on Figma community, but on a Figma link. And someone copied out some designs from there. This is a long time ago. And I'm like, that was what I even saw. I was almost saying that, oh, this is the green light for the guy. Only getting to that point, I'm like, did you do this? And the person said yes. I said, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. And I was like, yes, he did. I said, okay, can you show me the Figma file? I said, it's 10D. I said, if it's 10D, it's not meant to be here. I'm never meant to see a preview if it's 10D. He said, you can show it, but you can't show it. I said, but what if I show you this design? And I shared my screen and I showed him that font for font, typeface for typeface, color for color. Who is lying? I'm like, so yes, it could be, like I said, it could be two-sided. It's a two-sided problem, two-sided coin problem. People should not, in the guise of trying to hire designers, make them work for free.
In Nigeria, quite a number of university graduates are sort of pushing that NYSC should be scrapped out.
I'm nodding that I'm falling. I'm not nodding.
Okay, yeah. Would you also say, using that as that's an example, would you say we should scratch out, come and design something, let me see. Let me see if you can actually get, is my portfolio not enough?
Portfolio would have been enough if I have not started realizing that theft is prevalent now in design. So this is because of new knowledge that people are taking other people's work and putting it on their portfolio as theirs. It's becoming prevalent. I've witnessed it twice so far in my interviews, and I'm like, why? And that scared me. Plus, there's this thing of mismatch. What you see on the portfolio. Now, I'm a designer, so I can speak authoritatively on it. There's a design phase you'd get to where you can do 4 designs and one looks incredibly good. They'll mistake it for a senior designer. The other 3 don't look good enough. So it seems as though they are hit and miss. Some people are more keen on getting work than incredibly becoming good at what they do. So they are the ones who fall into that category of, you see some of their work on their portfolio, this is good, the next work you are saying isn't good enough. You are not seeing consistent design understanding. So for such persons, it is not out of place if you say, try out the design, let me see before I can pass my judgment. Why? Because they have not consistently been doing, they are not having a track record yet of good designs. So that may be a cause for that. That may call for that.
During design hiring, would you highly recommend that designers should apply for role that they know that they are a little or more over? Say, example, a senior designer should actually apply for either a junior role or an intermediate designer role. I don't know if you get the question.
Your question is contextual.
Okay.
In the Nigerian design space, I strongly suggest that whatever you are applying for, you should drive in more value than your role specifies.
So not necessarily like apply for a lesser role, but drive in more value.
Yes, that's
which means you're way qualified for this role, but still apply for it.
Yes, you may need to do that depending on where you are on your design journey.
Aren't you taking those who are actually meant for that? Aren't you taking?
That's why I said there's a context to this. Driving more value. There's a certain threshold where they can call you a senior designer because you have a thorough understanding of design. You're able to delegate. You're able to have understanding of design across different design fields, and you understand business. So at that point, you intersect a lot of things that can move the needle of the business. So they say, come and become senior designer. It's still possible contextually that somewhere else you might easily pass for a mid-level designer, even with your business understanding, based on the threshold they consider a bar for a senior designer. Do you get it?
Yeah.
That is on one side. On the other side, the reason why I said there's a context to it is I do not recommend that if you're a senior designer, you go and take a junior designer role. But who am I to say that? Do I have work to give? Especially for people who have been job hunting for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a bit careful with no. Yes, because if you keep taking up junior designer roles, you are encroaching people who are meant to actually take that role. But economically speaking, sorry, not me being economy, it is inevitable. When there wasn't work at all, I think this was last 2 years, and there was crazy inflation. PhD holders were applying to be drivers for Dangote truck. If you are doing that, the actual people who are meant to do those roles, what are you going to do to them? What should happen to them? So I'm saying that there are some effect of some of these things are effect of the economic situation of Nigeria, not necessarily a design decision or a designer's decision to take. It is because in the economy where we find ourselves, a lot of mid-level designers are fighting for intern and junior designer role in the same country.
Yeah.
And a lot of senior devs don't even mind, just bring me in, I'll do anything. So it's a testament to the economic state the country is. It has nothing to do with them taking up other people's role. They have to do something legitimately. And if it's designed, they don't mind. I rest my case.
You answered it as a politician, and let's go. We'll cast your vote for you on that one. We'll vote for you on that one. What would you say are some qualities that designers should have to make them stand out during hiring process?
Communication and ability to handle criticism. A lot of designers don't know how to communicate properly. A lot of designers don't know how to manage superiors, people who are higher than you in your organogram. They don't know how to manage them, and they need to be managed. A lot of designers don't know how to, from a business perspective, carefully explain why some of the decisions the superiors are taking may not fly. You are not enforcing your own decision on it, but explaining why that. I know you might not end up going with my own decision, but I still want to explain to you why there may be a merit to what I am saying, and that merit may be a shoulder above whatever you are recommending. A lot of designers don't know how to do it, and a lot of designers respond emotionally based on their design, especially when criticism is channeled to their design. They don't know how to handle it. So how do I know this? If I'm interviewing you and you tell me that, from where you worked before, one of the ways you handled fallout with a team member, you first of all have my interest. Why? Because you're telling me how you handle a negative situation. Not that you're telling me they praise you, you got that argumentation. When you had problems with your team members, what happened? I actually remember that vividly having one, and this was the way it was managed. By giving me that preamble or just opening that explanation with that, you probably have bought me. I'm sold already. So a lot of designers don't know how to manage altercations. They don't know how to manage differences in opinion or perspective on their work and not letting it get to altercations. So if I'm at any level you are, but probably more, this is more attributable to senior designers and mid-level designers. You hear them. I want to believe that you have had clash with your CEOs, with your direct reports. How did you handle it? When you had to do what we call organ center design, how did you follow through? When you hear things like, it did not really matter where direction was coming from. What mattered was the fact that execution had to be top notch. It has to be stellar. So I still brought my A game. I ensured that all designs were quality designs at the highest level possible within my capacity, even if direction didn't come from anyone. Like if you get a design, I mentioned that, and it's not telling you that you just did it though. The same person will chop. So you know that person has gotten to a stage where it's flexible enough to handle any kind of criticism. Designers need it more than anything, and how you communicate. Communicating in good time as early. I struggle with it early on, but I'm getting better now. Communicating as early as possible and as clearly as possible. So where are we in our design? We're in a good place. A good place is not a good response. So I finished so and so task. As I still get to so task, I'm still currently working on so task. Some flows are still missing. There are still some design depths that are anticipated, but so date or not before it should be ready. If there's going to be any extension, I'll let you know in good time. Designers should be able to communicate as clearly as possible. If I see that trait in a designer, that's a plus automatically. That's a plus. Provided you can still design. If you can't design well and you can communicate, there's still
I was going to ask that. What if?
No, so I'm assuming that your design skill is not giving room for any kind of fear. But you have gone past that. So where we are now is, what else can you do other than design? If you tell me, if I notice, and the thing is that how you know a designer communicates is not by asking them how do you communicate. It's literally listening to them talk. sometimes they give themselves away when they mention how they handle some of their PM. The PM was on their nerve. It did not allow them to go with creative exploration. That person is a red flag. Because most PMs are like that. They will get on your nerve. How do you handle it? How do you not allow it to affect interpersonal relationship, the quality of the work you give out, and how do you ensure that your objective and the company's objective are still aligned? Because fight happens when your objective personally and career-wise is not aligned with the company's objective. So those are the things I look out for. A bit more professionalism.
Yeah. Wow.
They're quiet.
You know, when we talk about things like this, right, it gets to me. It helps me reflect. And I remember, again, I mentioned this in the previous episode. When Adeze was talking about criticism and the likes of that, I was quiet as well. Like, I had to take a deep pause. I had to take time to digest that thing because I've had such experiences in the past myself. And now, things like this help me reflect that, okay, if you had done this like this or had done that like that, this would have.
I spoke with a lady, maybe one of the best design I ever did for a company, one of the best of the best. We are still friends now. She's not in the country. She told me something that stood out to me. She said, our boss, who was a direct report, had a different idea that for the product outcome that was completely different from ours. Because I asked her, why are you leaving your previous place of work? And why do you want to join this person? And she said, over time, she started realizing that as much as there's a lot of compromise on the work, all she has to do was become an execution muscle for him. He was the brain, she was the muscle. She started realizing that that is not a good direction for her career project because it undermines her desire for creative expression. Now, when she means it undermines, she's not belittling the creativity of her direct report. She's only saying that his own creativity automatically excludes our own.
Yes.
And that was a very professional and mature way of saying that your guy discountenanced all your input was next to zero, but that it automatically meant our own creativity was not needed. And that was sufficient for her to keep working and align with the company objective for 4 months. But after that, she realized that it will hurt her long-term objective of becoming a valuable designer. Presenting it in that manner and not casting aspersion on your boss, not using derogatory remark on your boss, not painting him in a bad light, even if he is meant to be painted in a bad light, made me realize that if you and any of your direct reports in this current company have issues, you should not be afraid that you are going to paint him in a bad light or you are going to go about saying stories that are not true. She has a very strong grasp of her emotions. It does not affect how she presents people, even people she's not in a good relationship with, to a third party. And that's a very strong suit for a designer. I mean for any employer, but primarily for a designer because our emotions is primarily tied more. Probably more to our work.
That's true. Thank you for that. Do you think the current trends in designs in Africa specifically has in a way impacted, how has an impact in any way on the hiring process? Yes.
We are tending towards minimalism more. A lot of African brands, they start out looking all colorful, bright, and sometimes it's perfect the way they are. But over time, you start noticing they tend towards monochrome, a bit more matured, cleaner fonts, cleaner typeface. So, yes, because of that reason, a lot of designers who are very expressive now have to learn to do modern, clean designs. Again, when you say Africa, that's wide, but using Nigeria as a case study, our industry as per design is still young. So far, that I've observed, I'm too young in the design industry. They are OGs I met on ground. But still young, and people want to get hired have to be able to represent a brand in a cleaner perspective. They are not rich in heritage like that when they want to show brand. They're not even in color so much. So it's usually making it clean, making it clear. Very rarely is it very expressive. So how has it affected that? Most times the people who come in UI design guys are not the UI guys that you do other kind of approach to design. They are usually clean and modern, not the expressive, the colorful, the playful, or the comical, in spite of the company's brand manual or brand guide. And so more designers tend to go in the direction of just clean modern UI and not so much of expressive UI. Not so much of the UI that is heavy on illustration. Not so much of the UI that is heavy on brand assets and brand systems. Usually just clean modern monochrome, black and white. It has really affected it because those are the kind of designers company wants to take in now. And a lot of designers are tending in that direction because they know that's what the market is demanding.
Don't you think that's kind of forcing people to play a part that they wouldn't generally want to?
Yes. A lot of these things are macro there are consequences of the macro economy. Probably if we have more fintechs who are also, there's this head mentality among a lot of tech companies in Nigeria that you can't get away from. You can't get around it also. It's one company does A, don't be shocked, that direction. The other company might not take it verbatim, but you will notice traits of it in other companies. So especially now that we have very few leaders in the tech space, anything these ones do, the rest just follow. We are yet to see fintech that are, we have, well, so to say we are yet to might be like some of a reach, a bit of a reach, but we have, but it's not as prominent as possible, where there's a distinct identity all of them want to preserve, not minding whatever is prevalent in the market. So it's a macroeconomic issue. We have more fintechs that are very comfortable and confident in their own identity, be it expressive, be it brutalist, be it neo-brutalist, or other than modern and clean. Yes, I'm very certain we'll have those representation.
Interesting.
It's time for a quick break. We will be right back after this break. Thank you to our sponsor, Simplified UX, for sponsoring this episode. Are you a designer looking to improve your design skills? Or do you already have commendable design skills, but you somehow don't know your stance in design theories? Or have you ever wished for a questionnaire that could help you test your design knowledge? That's where Simplified UX comes in. Simplified UX is your best bet at testing your design knowledge. Simplified UX is a platform that aims at helping designers to be more knowledgeable in what they do, as well as improving their design skills. If you've ever wished for a questionnaire that could help you test your design knowledge, simply log on to simplifiedux.com to join a pool of design talents who are actually polishing their design skills and knowledge. Interestingly, there are actually recruiters on Simplified UX who can actually notice your skill and help you learn good design rules. Simply log into app.simplifiedux.com and use my discount code DSP25 to get a 25% discount when you subscribe. Link in the description below. You're welcome back to the conversation.
What would you say are some questions that should not necessarily be asked during interview? The HR shouldn't really ask designers because it's maybe invalid or not necessarily needed, but they are being asked. Should I set an example?
Please go ahead.
How much are you earning from your last place of work?
Okay, so sometimes that question can be to their own doing anyway.
Okay.
Because when you hear the amount some of these guys earn, especially if they are coming from a place where design has been valued, it may take them off balance.
But wait, would you agree that that question should be scrapped out from interview? Or not
yes,
necessarily?
it should, professionally.
Okay.
It's not needed. I'm saying it because just tell him your budget, oh, this is what we can afford, the ballpark. And sometimes just actually put it when you are hiring that, oh, this is what you are budgeted for a designer. So you get the people you are getting, you don't need to be asking them how much they're hoping to earn because you already mentioned how much you are willing to pay, and those are the class of people that are coming in. So I don't think that should be a question that should be asked. It's quite unnecessary. How much of design do you value as a company? And then make it all clear. Put it out. This is the amount we want to pay. If it's negotiable, let's negotiate it. And if not, find people who are comfortable with it. So, one. Then another thing is that, I think one question I feel like they ask that may be unnecessary. I don't want to be controversial, but a lot of my folks have been asked these questions recurrently. How do they hope that their design will drive the business for that? What is the place of their design in their business? When you ask that question, okay, maybe the question can be asked, but for Nigerians, you should not bother asking the question because for most part, we are going to undermine the entire process of that happening. The work, the HR, is direct report of people they work with undermines you. So if you say, oh, I'm coming to this company and I really want to give you my very best, it's very likely that your very best is going to be undermined by the very company you are working for. Why? Because there's this plague going on where they'll bring in a professional designer, but they don't trust anything else. But they still want you not to. But all they want to do is just focus on execution. We don't need your input. So a lot of designers I know, I even senior designers, respected senior designers, complain of the same thing that in this place, all you just want to do is just dish out design. Don't think. Just design, don't think. But when they want to hire you, they want you to tell them
Yeah.
What you think, what you do if you're given autonomy you won't get when you start working. So I just feel like that question should be scrapped out and be as forthright as possible. For the most part, I think every other thing is bearable, depending on the person who is hiring. I've been more on the hiring side. I've not really been on the hired side, so I don't know. Those are like the two questions that really stand out to me. The whole, what value are you hoping to drive to the company? Everything he says when he enter, he probably will realize that they won't allow you even move an inch independently.
And what would you say are key questions that designers need to ask HR? Like, don't leave that interview without asking this question.
Number one, ask about the culture of the company. Now, culture is not just a one-sentence statement dump. Now, but when you ask about the culture, it puts them in a very tight spot. What do I mean? If I ask when I'm joining your company, I really like to know what the work culture around here is. Asking that question creates an expectation for you that you can always match anything that is deviating from it with. You said that, oh, we are very welcoming people, we don't discriminate with this, with that, but look at what has happened. You can always hold on to that. So don't joke with culture. So you can also have an idea of a culture fit. They don't have to be the one trying to know if you're a culture fit. You know if you're a culture fit. You want to work in a place where it seems as though they have told you that they can call you anytime, that even if it's past 5, they can call you and you must be comfortable with it. So those are like, ask about the culture in that workplace, that, oh, how do people handle timing? How do people handle offense? How easily is query served? Like, those are things. A lot of designers are eager to work, so they probably will never bother asking any questions. But a very simple question, oh, what's the culture here like? I would like to know. And if you are getting answers like, oh, you'll find out when you come. It may be a green flag or a red flag, depending on the company history you have read up on.
Okay.
It may be a good green flag, a red flag.
It sounds like a threat. I don't know.
Oh.
Sorry. It sounds like a threat.
It depends.
Okay.
Another question you should ask is, probably ask them key question. Don't ask them about design. That's what you are coming to do. Ask them about their dev team. How do they operate? So don't focus around design. Oh, what has design been like here? You probably don't need that question, because whatever it has been like, what matters is what you are coming to do.
To bring, yeah, what you bring to.
So ask them what they are. If you are coming in and you are going to hand your work to a developer, ask around their development team. How do they handle relationship? Is the person full time? Is the person on the person on a contract? Turnaround time for development team. So ask around the organization itself. If it's a fintech app, the customer will probably ask you a lot of questions about your customer care. How are they handling problems? And that problem, is it design problem or a UX problem or an engineering problem? I'm trying to anticipate, other than the work you give me, I'm trying to anticipate how I drive value to reduce work from all departmental level. I'm trying to ensure that customers coming to complain about the product will not be like the way it used to be before I came in, because now I'm going to be designing based on context from CS team. What are people complaining about? To try and reduce that work. Now, these responses probably will come from a mid-level senior designer, because they are building an organization, so they have insights. If you are interviewing me, probably the first question I ask you is that I want to know the work rate of your CS team. How did they handle feedback? Because they are the front-facing parts of your business.
Yeah.
The perception anybody will have, people won't call the CEO directly or designer or developer. If there's a problem, it's the CS team. So any perception I have of your business after is from the CS team. If I think this business are not serious, they are responsive, they are attentive, it's still from the CS team. So the CS team is the front-facing part of the business. They are like the people at the desk you see before you enter a building. So I probably will ask a lot of questions around your CS team. And if I've done my research about your product, if it's not if it's not an app, probably it's whatever business you're into, I would know the kind of question. It's contextual. I'll know the kind of question to ask. And probably you'll be shocked. You think I'm already part of your business, because I'm anticipating where the problem will be, where design can solve for, where design can come in for. And probably I'll ask, what's your handoff process like, especially for a development team? As a person, are you more keen on functionality or aesthetics? It may be like I'm switching interview roles, but yes. Yeah. Are you keen on aesthetics? And they say, oh, they are keen on both, so I can live with that. If you say I keen more on functionality, that's good. And then I'll probably ask them finally, what kind of leadership style do they do for direct reports? Do they relinquish all autonomy for me to find my direction? Is it shared, me and the person working together? I share my idea, I share the idea, I'll look for a common ground, or is it entirely on him? You just instruct me on what to do and I just execute. Those are the questions I would ask. Questions that will affect my day-to-day work. I probably might not even ask questions about salary, based on I've settled down before we even got to the interview phase.
I mean, these are indeed vital questions, keen questions.
Very rarely you find the product designer is asking about your sales team. If you find one,
Hold.
no,
Grab.
hold up.
Hold up.
That one already knows how his designs are going to move the metrics of the business. Like he already has KPIs for himself automatically. If your sales team is activity around your sales team reduces, it can be for two reasons. People are really enjoying your app or your business is dying. So if people are enjoying your app, the inquiry will be more than the complaint. If people are not enjoying your app, it will be a graveyard. People don't install and want to consider them. And if there are a lot of complaints in the sales team, it's usually not good. Usually not good. It's always that people are complaining about one thing or the other. And the thing about that, it leads to bad review. If you are hiring me and your fintech company, first thing I'm going to check is the review of your app on Play Store or App Store. What are people saying about it? So it gives me insight on the questions I'm going to ask you. Not design-related questions. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking at the problems designs want to solve. And sometimes it's intricately tied to engineering. Maybe platform problem that you inherited because you stacked on a platform that is having downtime, and because of that your app is not functional. We will now address it. So if you are going to hire me as a designer for fintech, I probably go and check your app first, check your website, check your sitemap, look at areas on your website that can be improved upon, look at your application, what are the things what are the reviews people are saying about your application. Use your application so I can give you authoritative feedback. And then I'll ask your CS team, your development team. If you don't mind me asking, it might seem like a reach, but those two, I will not go for that. It depends on the role I'm in. I'll not ask about the business side of things because I'm not being coming as C-suit. Except you are bringing me as C-suit, then I know the other person will ask.
Interesting. Still on that question train, aside the salary, right? Are there other key things that should be very necessary, if not equal, at least it should level up to the standard of the salary that should be in place for the designer? I'm trying not to give speculation here because I want to hear what you would say. Aside, okay, this is the remuneration, this is your salary. Aside that, are there other things that it's a necessity to have for the designer you're wanting to hire outside their salary?
I would say it depends. Why am I saying depends? On where the business is currently. There are a lot of businesses that will hire you and automatically are getting a laptop. They are getting Matchbox and all. And they automatically put you on HMO.
Okay.
But some have not gotten there yet. They are their startup phase. You might not be getting all of that. In fact, they will ask you to get your own laptop before they raise.
Yes.
Other than salary, one thing I think a designer should get is ensure that, for me, the reason why my answer may not be straightforward is because for me, I take full responsibility for the outcome of my life, including career. I don't wait for a business to help me navigate my career path. What I mean by that, I don't wait for a business to put me on a learning plan, read this book, then give us feedback on leadership meeting also. I do that autonomously, like on autopilot. I run on autopilot from autopilot. So my expectation on a business is quite low. Or as per them giving me things, I even don't collect gadgets. The two places I've worked so far, and for the longest, company properties, I don't take it. It allows me to leave easily. Once I leave, I'm leaving. I'm not having to buy or go and rebuy or having to copy out anything. You can shake hands, smile, and say it's been a journey. Other than that, a conducive environment is needed for work. I think this has been downplayed so much. Whether you're a remote worker or not, the conducive environment has nothing to do with the physical environment.
Yeah.
It has to do with how your company handles, how the people you work with. And that's where you know the company culture. How do people handle, how much of value do they place on design? And how do they handle instances where your view and their view are loggerheads? How do you handle those discrepancies in views? It's far more important for the long run. You might have said it in the last episode that your co-workers or your direct reports affect your mental health far more
Than your doctor.
So day to day, it sort of affects how you work. And cumulatively in a year, 2 years, 3 years, it can unknowingly, good or bad, cast you into a posture, good or bad, as a co-worker. Some people have PTSD from where they are coming from. And it affects how they are very not trusting of their co-workers. And for some other persons, they are coming from a healthy work environment, and it shows. They are very welcoming, even if you don't see from their perspective. Everything doesn't have to be. They are not combative or argumentative, even when you don't see eye to eye with them. So that really, really matters for a designer. And those are my own 2 cents.
That's beautiful. Interesting. Interesting. I love the fact that you also emphasize that it somehow also depends on where the company is at.
Where the company is at is really
Some
matters.
companies do not have the funds.
They have not raised it, and they really just barely need a designer to polish the front-facing part of their business. So you might not be getting a laptop. You might just be getting a shirt and a mug with your name on it, but you might not be getting a laptop.
Yeah.
And for some others, they are breezed. You are getting a laptop. You are getting the best gadget, the best device to ensure you do your best work for them.
And this would also be something that companies who know that they are not giving out laptops and merch and everything don't.
They will be the most demanding, probably most.
I mean,
from the perspective of designer, probably most unreasonable. Why? Because they have limited resources. They have to take an ounce of everything they can get from everybody in the team. So I don't blame them.
Truly, yeah.
So I'm just saying I know what you are signing up for.
Yeah.
You might not do 9 to 5, you might do 9 to 9. The earlier you know that, the better, because there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of resources to cater for the people required to do the work.
It's true.
And few resources to cater for the number of people to do the work.
It's true. This is like a big question for me, to be honest. Do you think HR who have little to no experience in design should actually hire designers?
No. I don't need to give you a roundabout explanation on that one. No.
Okay.
No, a lot of them make terrible mistakes.
Yeah.
Mistakes that sometimes they have to undo after 3 months of working with the person and realizing that there's no compromise you want to do. You just brought in the wrong person. His design may be good, but you're dealing with a shit person. Someone who you cannot talk to, cannot be easily corrected, or with a terrible habit that is undermining his day-to-day productivity.
Wow.
A lot of those things are nuances you probably won't pick up if you don't have a designer beside you. And sometimes you are bringing in a fraud. Downright a fraud who doesn't know how to design and is just running on other design stuff from you. I mean, theft design is a thing now. So, and these days people are using ChatGPT to run their design, Midjourney to run some of their designs. How will you tell? Please, even if you don't have a senior designer, outsource it. Let someone do the iron for you, and then or bring someone else on board just for that purpose to help you with the iron process. No, they shouldn't.
Let's create an analogy. You're looking for an illustrator, a digital illustrator, and you want to hire a digital illustrator, and someone submits their portfolio, very clean work, beautiful, lovely illustrations, but everything was AI generated. How are you proceeding with that hire? That's the portfolio they have.
There's nothing to proceed with.
They wrote the prompt.
There's nothing to proceed. If you send me AI generated portfolio, I will give you a comment on what it. I like your portfolio, it's nice.
Yeah.
We'll see you another time. I'll comment on how fine the portfolio is, but we're not going any further. And the thing is, there's a kind of mist layered on front of AI generated images, so you can tell when you see.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a designer.
Yeah.
It's not. It might be high resolution, but it's not clear. The actual images are not usually clear. There's like a mist on top of it. We saw a banner when we were driving back, and I still saw it, and I'm like, this is an AI generated image. If I see it on your portfolio as a designer, and it's the core part of your work, and there's nothing to proceed with, except if the business does not mind, and it's part of the business values that, we are trying to allow for AI powered productivity. Even at that, I still doubt that will go. There's nothing to proceed on.
In other words, I'm an AI illustrator. It's not really a role now. Like
for some company, they don't mind. Some company actually want to hire people who are good prompters, who know how to prompt the AI.
It takes skill and creativity to actually drafting these prompts.
But you don't want all your output looking like AI. That's the thing. I don't think they want it looking very obvious that this is from AI.
Yeah.
There's a sort of loss of touch to it when it seems like the machine is just churning out the core part of your creativity. I don't think that uniqueness to your business would remain. It should be lost at some point in the process. So no, a big fat no.
So I want you to imagine that numerous number of designers applied for a role. You're interviewing. A lot of designers applied. The first 3 stage and everything, you narrow it down to 3. You have 3 excellent designers. 2 more stage to the final, still these 3. What will be your last point of judgment to finally pick one? They are all good. Exceptionally, they are good.
It has to be something other than design. And like I mentioned, communication. Probably how do you handle offenses when you are not happy? How do you... So I would ask a non-leading question. You probably won't know where I'm going. And I don't want to give myself away on the call. But I'll ask you non-leading questions. You will not know what I'm trying to get at.
For some who may not really understand non-leading questions,
I won't ask you questions that you think you know the answer.
the question can actually give you an idea of the answer.
The answer, yes. Yeah. So you would answer and you would not know what I'm picking out in your response. So you will speak freely because you would not know what I am trying to get at. And I'm pretty good at it. If I do not appear proud or arrogant, I'm pretty good at non-leading questions. I would ask you questions, you would answer, but you don't know what I'm looking for in your response. I don't think it will be a problem if I see 4 amazingly good design, even if it's 2 or 3. I know what my criteria will be. That's when interpersonal skill will shine. And when I mean interpersonal skill, I don't necessarily need you to be humble. That one does not move the needle of the business. It might help team profile, but if you are not good enough, if you are proud and you are good, I probably will still consider it. But I want to be sure that you have a certain threshold of behaviors that we can live with. And when at any point you feel like your personal objective and the company objective are not aligned, how do you handle those rough edges? What do they mean to you? Those are the key vectors I'll look at. Those are like my own North Star metric that will determine if we would hire you or not. Because there are going to be periods where we are going to be seeing things from different perspectives. Yeah. It's bound to happen. There are going to be periods where you are not going to like your direct reports. There are going to be periods where you don't feel good about the decision he is making or the way the company is headed at. What does that mean for you? How do you handle such displeasures? How do you communicate? And if you can't communicate, what are the other means you would employ to ensure that your voice is heard in a non-combative manner?
Really great. With the fast rise of AI, it's very rampant right now. And it looks like in the whole interview, if you don't, in your answers, if there's nothing at all that shows that, oh, I can integrate the use of AI to this to help me work efficiently, it looks like you're not ready. And at the same time, if almost everything you're talking is all about the AI part of things, it looks like you're not reliable. So how do we draw the balanced line when hiring to say, make sure that the designer you're hiring can utilize AI to aid their productivity in a way, but we don't want someone who's totally dependent on AI. Like, how do you draw the balance?
Currently, this analogy may not be valid in the coming years, but currently AI is like salt. If you don't put it in food, it's bland.
Yeah.
If you put it too much,
it's too much.
That sharp taste on your tongue will just take you off balance. This analogy might not be applicable in the next coming years.
Yeah.
So it takes a bit of finesse to know when sufficient amount of automation is needed in your work, especially in areas where you are dealing with low creativity. Things that are repetitive, things that do not require a bit of reflection and thinking, things that require brainstorming and ideation, how you want to scale and apply it. But not that you are now excusing it to take over the core value you are trying to drive in through a business. AI for you is just a scaler. AI is not the main thing you are bringing on board. So a great deal of wisdom is required in trying to let me know that you can use AI to speed up the turnaround time for your work, but AI is not replacing the core part of doing your due diligence, thinking things thoroughly. AI is just helping to make you scale. It's helping you as a productivity scaler, a multiplier effect. So it's a net positive on your work. It's not replacing your entire work. So how it is being said is as important as what is being said.
Yeah.
So I need you to articulate. I'll be requiring them to articulate that, it is meant to help them increase productivity, not replace them entirely. And when I mean not replace them, because you believe you are doing something unique that the AI cannot do. Once the AI can do most of what you are doing, then why do you need to hire you? If you are saying most of what you are going to be dealing with requires an AI, you may as well just use the AI and not use you. It's as simple as that. So you need to reinforce how you are going to be doing your own part of driving value through creativity, and the AI is just there to accelerate things for you, not replace it.
Finally, do you really think design hiring in Nigeria is broken? Or
I mean, a lot of things are broken in Nigeria. A lot of things are broken in this country as per process flow, but we are getting better. I'm seeing a lot of designers who are content with where they work, so we are getting better. Design hiring, it's a gradual progress we're making. Not so much is a gradual progress, because we are dealing with incredibly terrible people who just want the hiring process as an opportunity to get their work done without having to pay a dime.
yeah.
And then some companies that have zero value for designers. And like you mentioned earlier, some HRs that have they have no knowledge about design, and then they have strong opinion on design. I mean, you don't have knowledge about design, but you're insisting on what you want to be done is what should be done. So it's all everything, everywhere, all at once. But I think we're in a better place compared, because I mean, a lot of people are complaining on the internet, so they are driving attention to a more structured process to hiring, reliable hiring. It's an ongoing conversation.
That's good. Thank you very much for your insights. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Designstration.
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 Designstration.